Now, if you live in Florida, you might have heard of Robert and Trudie Perkins. But did you know that throughout their lifetime, they helped thousands of students get educated and they helped black business owners start businesses? But not only that, they were the first black people to do a lot of things in the Tallahassee area. But look, don't worry. I did some digging. Let's get into it. Now, we're going to start this thing off in the 1940s, all right? Because Robert and Trudie, they both attended FAMU University, and that's where they met. Now, Trudie, she graduates around 1944 from the beauty program at FAMU. She wanted to open up her own shop in the Tallahassee area, and that's what she did. Now, in 1947, Robert graduates from FAMU. He earns his BS in math, science, and mechanics. Thing is, right, he wanted to educate people because, when he was younger, it was hard to get an education. So he wanted to be able to help, young black students get into college. Now, right after graduation, all right, they get married. And right after they get married, they buy some property and open up their own business. It's a mechanic shop / beauty salon. But at this time in Tallahassee, a lot of the black community didn't have really good paying jobs, to be able to afford a beauty salon and maybe get your car fixed. So what they decided to do is have special pricing, all right? Especially for students. But if you didn't have money, they would put you on a credit plan, all right? And that worked out for them for a really long time. But that wasn't it. The thing is that they knew it was hard to start their business, being a black couple. So what they wanted to do, they say, look, we know the ropes. So they actually started a program where if you were a black business and you were trying to start a business maybe out of your home, or you were trying to buy land, residential, they would help you try to get that land rezoned to commercial so you can start your business. Now, seeing that they're helping people, right? Helping them fill out the paperwork, sending it in, all right? Starting their own little case. All of them get denied. Every last one of them. Not one case gets fixed. So what they do is they say, look, what we're going to do is we're going to start our own bond company so we can get into this bond community to help people out a little bit more. So now they started raising capital to do all these different activities in the community. Now, in the midst of all of this going on, Robert, he's a professor, not just at FAM. He's also a professor at FSU. Bro got 2 separate jobs, but that's not it. He's so dedicated to helping these students that if some of the students were struggling, he would help them after hours. Matter of fact, when he was working on cars at his shop, the service center, he would have the students come to the shop, sit down, do the work while he working. He'll help them if they need help, so they'll catch up. Bro was 24/7 with helping these kids. And not only that, we got to understand something. These college students, that he working with. And sometimes he would realize that some of these college students didn't have no money. They wasn't eating. You know what I mean? So what he would do is basically give these kids little grants so they could take care of themselves, buy hygiene products. Also, real quick. So Robert's service station, the one he had here in Tallahassee, he worked on cars, you can get tires and stuff, but he also had gas pumps. And in Tallahassee around this time, they had a boycott with fuel and gas. And he was the only gas station that would serve you gas if you were a student or a professor of FAMU or FSU. Now, at this time, Robert and Trudie, all right, they started to realize they were hearing the students murmur. They were saying, look, there's nowhere for, black kids to go, in the community, activity centers, or just anything entertainment outside of the school. And they wanted to do something about that. So they go down, all right, to the county and say, look, we need to take some of this money that we get in and maybe build something, for the black kids in the area. So we all realized they said no. And Robert and his buddy said, look, we're going to fix this problem real quick. Now, after multiple attempts for them to build these facilities for these kids, Robert and a guy named Mr. Jenkins, they pile up a van full of black students from FAMU, all right, and take them over to an all-white activity center and let the kids do what they do. And things were a little weird, I believe the police were called, and they were trying to force them to leave. They did that a bunch. And it worked Because a little bit after that, guess what? They got funding. Sometimes you got to just prove your point. So in 1954, they end up building a park called Jake Gather Park. And they wanted a little bit more, okay? Because they told them that they would do more. They would build more than just a park. They would build like a community center and all these other things. And they were working on it. But the progress was just moving really, really slow. But that didn't last long because Robert and Mr. Jenkins, they went back down there to talk to him and say, hey, what's going on? They said, we don't have funding for like construction workers, for people to build it. But they stood on all 10 toes because a little bit after that, they got that activity center built. Now, back to Trudie, all right? 1967, she graduates from the nursing program, becomes an LPN. Matter of fact, she was the only black person in her class. And then a year later, she becomes the first black nurse at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. But they treat her like she's nothing, all right? And there was another black nurse that came a little bit after her. They also treated her like nothing. So they clicked together to try to see if they could get, maybe a little help on how they were being treated. Now, Trudie and her colleague, they fought for a long time for, their rights and being treated better while on the job. But they fought so hard that they both get fired. This is what they was fighting for. Now, the reason why they say they were fired, because they said they were falsifying the time cards. That's a lie. And they had to have some kind of reasoning. But this really pissed her off and her husband. So Robert and Trudie and 25 other, employees that kind of felt like they weren't done right, they go down to Washington on their own dollar, okay? And they do this. They're consistent, and they actually get heard because what they were fighting for is, equal rights for people in the workforce. And at the time, nobody was listening but the president. Now, Robert lost his job as well. I probably should have said that, his professor job. But the president puts in this consent decree, basically saying, look, if there's an empty spot, empty job, we need to fill it. Fill it with black people. They had a 23.7% job thing that they were trying to fill. So they wanted to go to that level and past that. And they did it. Now, over the next 40 years, all right, she's in the nursing, industry. But at the same time, she wasn't done, making history. Because at 85, she became the oldest person to graduate from Bible school. Shout out to Trudie. Now, Robert, he ends up passing away in 1994. But, until his death, he was fighting for equal rights, all right? Not only in Tallahassee, not only in Florida, but throughout America. Shout out to Robert. Also, Robert and Trudie got their own street. Now, I'm not from the area, but they say it's right down the middle of FAMU. It's like one of the main roads. But if you're from the area and you know where this road is, please put it in the comments. Also, real quick before I get out of here, all right? There's not a lot of information or pictures about them online. I had to go over to the Florida Civil Rights Museum website to get all of this information. So shout out to them. If y'all are looking for anything about anybody, it could be your family, could be relatives of some sort that has something to do with any kind of history in Florida, go to their website. They got a lot of stories that I did not know about. Now look, I don't know what y'all gonna do to remember this. Like it, comment, share it, please share it. I don't know, but the more you know. Peace.